What's up, stranger? Welcome or welcome back. Would you believe that if you're a bad businessman, then your business runs badly? That's right, today we're talking about Quibi. You've heard about it, I've heard about it, everyone that makes commentary videos has heard about it. Quibi has failed. And not only has it has failed spectacularly. In a time where about half the world is required to stay inside and watch TV, Quibi could not persuade people to stay inside and watch TV. Free TV, by the way. They were handing out 90-day free trials and people still weren't interested in it. So in a public statement, the founder, Jeffrey Katzenberg, said, "I attribute everything that has gone wrong to the coronavirus," Mr. Katzenberg said. Everything. In a time when billions of people are looking for something to do indoors, you say the pandemic caused its downfall. What? No. Before we go any further, please subscribe if you haven't. Today is my last day to pass PewDiePie, and it's not looking good. So for those of you that don't know, Quibi was basically a new streaming service that, that's not Quibi. Nope, that's not Quibi either. How many are there? Let me try again. Quibi is basically a new video streaming service that wanted to be like the go-to for short-form video entertainment. It had original shows called Quick Bites, which is actually where the name Quibi came from. And I know a lot of people were bashing the name, but it's like, it's two syllables that rolls off the tongue. I always kind of liked it. Just Quibi. You know, it was kind of nice. So Quibi was pretty big on marketing and advertising. In fact, it kind of hit Raid Shadow Legends levels of it's advertised everywhere and wanted nowhere. I think the amount of times it came up in my day-to-day life is probably the primary reason that I chose never to get it. So from what I understand, Quibi wanted to be like the app that filled your time when you had somewhere to sit or you were commuting and you had like 10 extra minutes or something. And honestly, I think they were onto something. There's just such a lack of short-form content on the internet. I can't think of any other apps or services that do that. Just to throw some numbers at you, in the first few days of its launch, Quibi signed up just under 1 million users. But of those 1 million people they signed up, only 72,000 stuck around to actually use the paid version. That's 92% walking out because they didn't think it was worth $5 a month. They handed 1 million people unlimited streaming to original shows and then told them it would cost them under 17 cents per day to keep watching, and everyone said no. But wait, don't go away now, it gets worse. You thought it was bad that they couldn't get people to pay for the app, but you don't know the half of it. After the first month of being open, Quibi projected that they would have around 2 million people signed up to their streaming service within the first year. And that doesn't sound too bad, right? Wrong! They had estimated originally that in the first year, they would be able to sign up 7.2 million people. Mind you, this was just for the free version. They were giving away 3 free months of original shows starring A-list actors such as Kristen Bell, Nick Jonas, Zac Efron, Kevin Hart, Gabriel Iglesias. They literally could not give away free shows starring Zac Efron and Kevin Hart. How bad did these shows have to be for Quibi to be literally unable to give them away? And the weirdest part is that nobody's ever going to be able to figure out how bad the shows were, because after Quibi shut down, they didn't sell the streaming rights to anyone. I could only find websites saying that Quibi originals were just unavailable anywhere, which I don't understand. They poured literally billions into this business, and when it failed and they went broke, they didn't even like try to recoup some of the losses by selling the streaming rights. Were their shows so bad they couldn't sell the streaming rights? Have you seen Netflix originals? They have no standards, to the point of literally putting out child. And you're telling me even Netflix wouldn't take these shows? Now I know some of you are gonna jump in here and say, but those originals are too short for Netflix. Which isn't exactly true, because Netflix has an original series called Love, Death, and Robots. Not only is it very short form content, but it's also one of the best series that I've ever watched. Netflix, please bring it back. The only thing holding back my crippling depression is a constant stream of media entertainment, and I'm running out of shows to watch. Since we're roasting everything about Quibi, I figured we may as well also roast their Quick Bite Entertainment originals. So earlier I asked, how bad did the shows have to be that they weren't even able to give them away for free? And the answer is pretty bad. The ones we're going to be looking at today are called 50 Shades of Fright, Dummy, and Most Dangerous Game. I want to jump in here real quick and say that from what I understand, a lot of the Quibi shows were actually pretty good, and its failure was mainly because of poor marketing and advertising decisions, because they had super high expectations, and then none of that happened and they managed to burn through just shy of $2 billion within 6 months, and then they closed. That being said, just like I would with any other streaming service, I'm going to pick and choose the worst ones, that way I can make the funniest video with the least amount of effort. Okay, so the first series we're going to be looking at is 50 Shades of Grey. Nope, that's the wrong one. Although that movie was bad enough to have been a Quibi original, and it would have given the name Quick Bites a whole new meaning. Yeah, I think I'm gonna leave that joke in. So the first series we're going to be looking at is called 50 Shades of Fright. And the idea of this series was that they would take one urban legend from every state and retell it. It's a cool idea, but the issue is that the stories that Grandpappy tells his kiddos sitting around a campfire don't really translate well into, and this is true, shows that cost $100,000 per minute to make. So the first story is a 3-part episode where a girl marries a poor lumberjack, and this is how the narrator describes her.
She was an expensive wife, though. I mean, she was always asking Dave for stuff he couldn't really afford, and he would get it for her, you know, no matter how much it set him back.
But the only instance of that we see is when she buys an expensive Netflix, and then when he sees it, she offers to return it for him if it costs too much.
Is that new?
I should have asked you first, but it was just so beautiful. I can take it back.
And then this scene turns into this, like, choking thing, and then they have sex, and yeah... It's really uncomfortable to watch. So the husband needs to cut down a tree, and the wife agrees to help him do it. But of course this all goes horribly wrong, and the tree falls on her. But this is one of those scenes where she has like 10 seconds to get out of the way and doesn't. She has so much time to move! Anyway, so he cuts off her arm to get her out from under the tree, and being the good and loving husband he is, he builds her a new one.
And that couldn't have been further from the truth.
And then she just kind of becomes a bitch out of nowhere and demands one made of gold?
Do you still love me?
Yes. More than anything.
Please make it out of gold.
Where did this even come from? In what world is the next logical step after losing your arm to demand that your husband make one out of gold? And then he sells everything he owns to buy the gold? I thought you couldn't afford it. So I did some calculating, and if those are standard 400 ounce gold bars, which I don't actually think they are, they look a little bit bigger than standard ones, but for the sake of argument, we're gonna say they're 400 ounces, then he would have spent over $2 million on this hand. Also, there's no way that this amount of gold made that entire arm. On top of that, if we calculate how much an arm would weigh if it was made of gold, disregarding how much gold we saw him put in the forge earlier, her arm would weigh almost 100 pounds. Here's a video of a professional bodybuilder lifting weights. Guess how much each dumbbell weighs? 80 pounds. So if this man is lifting 80 pounds, how is this girl lifting 100? So then the wife just suddenly gets sick and they rush her to the hospital and the doctor tells her,
the tests have come in. It is pulmonary gold disease. As long as your body keeps absorbing the gold through your skin, there's very little I can do. You've got to take off that prosthetic.
But she won't take it off.
No, I can't take off my golden arm. Ever.
So she... dies? And they let her. They just let her die. So just before she dies, she makes him promise to bury her with the arm, which he does. But then he realizes he needs the money, so then he digs her back up and he takes the arm with her, but suddenly her corpse reanimates, grabs an axe and starts coming after him, so he, and this is true, hides under a blanket. Which is hilarious to me, because we all did this as kids, thinking that there's no way a monster can get to you if you're under a blanket. So at his first opportunity, he decides to test this theory. And you know, good for him, it actually works. So basically, the monster ends up killing him because he comes out from under the blanket, and any kid will tell you, that was his mistake right there. They can get you if you come out from under the blanket. But she kills him because he broke his promise, which I don't actually think is true, right? Because he did bury her with the arm. He just dug it up later. So I would consider that a loophole. So the other two shows, Dummy and Most Dangerous Game, I'm going to be going over a little more briefly because they don't do anything particularly dumb or much dumber than this one. So the next one is called Dummy. So for this one, basically, Anna Kendrick has a boyfriend who's old enough to be her father, and according to IMDb, they are 20 years apart in age, and there's no reason to assume they are any different in this show. But her father, her boyfriend, has a sex doll, and it's alive, and that's it. That's the whole show. Some notable things from Dummy are the CGI on the doll's face, which is more horrifying than the zombie from 50 States.
Did you see me? I was like, stop, that freaks me out. Oh my God, your face was so stupid.
It also makes this joke in the trailer.
Who is that? He's like 14. So, I'm 7.
Quibi, no. What the fuck? So Anna Kendrick and this doll become like best friends and probably lovers. I don't know. I didn't watch past the first episode, and I only watched that because I wanted to make this video. Finally, we have The Most Dangerous Game, and there's nothing really to say about this show. Everything about it, including the name, is just like super cliche, uninspiring, and unmemorable. So basically, this guy named Dodge has terminal cancer, and so some rich billionaire offers that if he wants, he can act as prey to be hunted by really rich sociopaths. And in return, his family will get enough money to buy as many golden arms as they want. No, wait, that's the wrong movie. He agrees, and he's hunted for the next 24 hours. The entire hunt takes place in Detroit, because of course it does. Hashtag Detroit versus everybody. He barely survives the 24 hours. He gets a phone call at the end saying that he won $24.5 million. Then he takes the phone and he throws it off a skyscraper? You don't see any way that could backfire in a city of almost 700,000 people? This show wasn't that bad, I'll give it that, but it was unmemorable. At best, it was just fine. The biggest issue with it is that there would be an action sequence, and then it would be cut off because the show can only be 8 to 10 minutes long because it's a Quibi show. It was a good show that was ruined by the fact that Quibi was the one that made it. And that's kind of a shame. So that rounds out the TV shows, and I'll say the shows weren't all bad. I mean, a lot of them were dumb and the horror shows definitely flopped, but a lot of them were kind of okay. The issue was that the shows didn't justify a standalone platform. Quibi was trying to reinvent the wheel, and we really don't need more short-form content. But what if Quibi had worked just a little bit differently? Imagine this. Quibi starts out as it did, but instead of hiring really expensive A-list actors, they just hire pretty good but completely unknown actors. And instead of trying to build and host their own streaming site, they just host their original content on a streaming site that's already well established. And instead of trying to get people to pay for it, they just run off of advertisements and sponsored product placement. If they did all that, they get a YouTube series. Everything they need to succeed is literally right here on this platform that you're on right now. And it costs them nothing to put all their original content up here. This wouldn't even be a new concept. Corridor Digital did it with their original series Rush. It's independently produced, featuring decent unknown actors. It's not up to billion-dollar Hollywood standards, but considering that it's a completely independent project, it's really good. And this is just an opportunity that Quibi completely missed. And it's not even like they didn't have a YouTube channel. They actually did. They even posted full original episodes, commercials, trailers, and all their other stuff for their marketing. And in less than 1 year of being up, they got 555 million views and 158,000 subscribers. 500 million views in the first year is unbelievable. I ran some quick numbers, and they could have been raking in about $150,000 a month just from YouTube ads. That doesn't even include any sponsored placements that they wanted to put in there. If they had started on YouTube, become really successful, and then decided to break off later, I think they would have been okay. Lily Singh even did this with her A Little Late with Lily Singh show. And even though it was just not funny, before people realized it sucked, almost 700,000 people tuned in to watch Lily Singh because they were just following her from her YouTube platform over to her new late-night TV show host platform. Quibi tried to fly before they could even walk, and they fell out of the nest and died. And as terrible as that analogy is, I'm gonna stick by it forever because it's accurate. That's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to become a stranger, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on those notifications if you like. I call my subscribers strangers because you watch my videos. And that's pretty strange. Catch you all next time.